When I joined Ridge in the late 60s, the partners and their families, they were working very hard on where to get people working. They had met this marvelous guy, Lee Carrasco. They hired him almost by himself to start working in the vineyard when they first bought it. And he then brought up cousins, uncles, brothers, some of the most incredibly wonderful people we've ever had and still have.
I started at Ridge in 1989. Most of the vineyard crew had been there for quite a while. Rafael was the old hand here. Yeah, he was great and always has been. Very steady influence and a hard worker.
Aquí casi es donde he trabajado como por un poquito más de 40 años. Recuerdo todo está bien. Es lo mismo casi todos los años, como empieza uno con la poda y luego con el amarre. Sí, ahorita es la pizca. Nomás va siguiendo el tiempo y el clima, porque todo tiene su tiempo.
My uncle was one of the first ones who actually came from the little town named Changuitiro in the state of Michoacan. He came in the late 1960s. My dad came shortly after in the 1970s. And then from then it just kind of stemmed out to brothers, to cousins, and just to other families as well.
Yo ya tengo 20 años aquí trabajando. Digo, aquí hacemos lo posible, hacer buen vino. Hacemos todo lo más posible, hacer un buen vino para todo el mundo, ¿va?
Yeah, I was born in Changuitiro. My dad brought us over. It was being from a small town in Mexico and having all your friends and family there. It was tough. We got here. There's a small school kind of halfway down the mountain here at Monte Bello. It was kind of a good transition because at the time, a lot of the kids that were at that school were also from families at Ridge. And so, kind of trying to learn a new language and whatnot, I leaned on a lot of the kids from the families here in the mountain.
I feel like my roots are here, right? Like that connection with, no, it's not just a vineyard, it's not just Ridge, it's family. And I think I've probably been to this harvest party since I was like a year old. During harvest was always like the highlight, I think, for me for like the year. My dad would go to work and it would be those long days where they had long harvest and it was a big rush. And then the holidays would come and we would actually travel down south to Mexico.
Changuitiro, muy bonito. Allá hay mucha flor, de mucha variedad de flores en el tiempo de la lluvia. Aquí me gusta también porque hay muchas montañas aquí. Es algo parecido allá. Siempre queremos ir a nuestra tierra. Cada año vamos. En Changuitiro es como una familia grande, que es como si fuéramos una familia, una pura familia en Changuitiro.
When I was 16, my dad was like, you need to get a job. And I was like, I'll just work in the vineyard. I remember seeing Kyle and David just like walk the vineyards and interact with people and just like talk about how the vines kind of went through the season. And just like, it kind of caught my attention. And I was like, I could really see myself doing this. It kind of reminds me of, being in Mexico in a way. You're always kind of working with the land. And so I decided to pursue that as a career.
15 plus years ago, all the families on the hill had their kids going to Monte Bello school. I was a migrant coordinator, so I worked with the Ridge families. One time I drove up and I was here at Ridge and I was like, hey, I'm like, this is kind of cool. Even though my dad worked with the company, I hadn't really seen like the business of it. And I was just about to start at San Jose State and I was like, let me ask, see if they have like a summer job. Never did I know that after I did that interview, I was going to start my job at Ridge and I was going to still be here now. I started learning about the wine and the history, and that's where kind of it started amazing me, like, wow, my dad has been part of this.
We have a lot of the kids of vineyard and winery employees here. It's near and dear to my heart, and it's really fun to watch them flourish.
Oh, mis hijos aquí han tenido buena oportunidad aquí en Estados Unidos a estudiar, pues, va. Y han estado aprovechando sus oportunidades.
Mauro Maldonado, I knew him since he was 16 looking for gas money, and I put him to work in our garden at the winery. And then he said, yeah, he wanted to learn more about viticulture because both his parents work in the vineyard. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
I was up in Oregon working for a vineyard management company there. David called me and he said, there's an opportunity in Sonoma if you want to come back. And it was like, how could you say no to the man who supported us all these years and to a place where it's kind of been like home?
Me gusta trabajar. No me importa lo que sea, pero nomás que haya. Si no hay trabajo, no saca uno para nada. Y si habiendo trabajo, dice, voy a trabajar y aquí tengo como decir, lo que uno quiere. Porque cuando no hay trabajo, es muy difícil para todo.
Constantly I tell myself how blessed I am because I'm able to have the two cultures. I thank my parents for them to speak Spanish to me, to really expose me to my grandparents in Mexico, to keep that. And I'm going to try to do my best with my girls as well.
Cuando yo estaba niño, era allá en México, me gustaba platicar a mí con los hombres mayores. Cuando estaba un niño, sí, hombres mayores que platican las historias, ¿no? Historias pasadas, es lo más bonito que hay, los recuerdos y las historias, ¿no?